What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what really moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi went down 4.11%. Nothing to do with SoFi in among itself, so no news, no SEC filings. Rather, it was just the broader market reacting to initial jobless claims, and through that kind of just dragged SoFi down. So I think a lot of algorithms were really negative today, causing a lot of selling. And even in SoFi's case, you didn't really see that good level of buying. So big money wasn't really buying the dip with SoFi, which was kind of abnormal because you had a lot of other growth stocks that had immense amount of volume, and one of which was SoFi, second one SoundHound, a couple others that I generally like to look at, but a lot of money was getting into the market, just oddly enough, not necessarily SoFi. So 50.6 million for that, 59.1 is the average. So don't get me wrong, there was still a lot of good buys that did occur on the secondary market, just frequency was down and it has been dropping for the last week for the most part. And I think what's been really filling in that gap of volume is just algorithmic trading. So you had kind of a stem of a lot of transactions after hours, but like I mentioned, I think it was just the market adjusting to what came out this morning. So initial jobless claims, and then near the end of the day right here, you had a lot of volatility as the market kind of paper hands got out in anticipation of tomorrow's numbers. So unemployment, I think right now the forecast, I believe, is 4.1 for that. I'll give you a quick overview of that. So for tomorrow, forecast right now is now 4.2. So it did go up slightly. So again, something to kind of keep in mind, especially based on Powell, what he recently stated. That is the granddaddy of all reports, so definitely stay tuned for that. Shorts, though, did return 240,000 shares, and I see this as very, very optimistic and bullish, only because if shorts really did feel that today's down day was justified, there's more than enough ammunition for them to double down. So kind of shows and signals that today was just more of a false pullback. That's just my own opinion, of course, but still, shorts have been losing their assets over the last little bit. So ultimately, net, they did return 240,000 shares. 13.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 140.32 million shares overall are being shorted. Moving over to options, you do have roughly 23 million in calls, 6.35 million in puts. So dollar value a little bit lower, somewhat matching with the common stock, but 48% of all the options being done were generally bearish, and you had a couple big ones right here, which clearly was not retail. Just between 1035 and 1040, there was $1 million in premiums. And so just generally, if we kind of look at this and see what the actual premiums were and what the orientation was. So it looks like it was a multi-leg transaction. So under 415,000 in premiums, looks like a put was sold. And then looks like a put was bought, and this one was a put sold for $15.50. So they're kind of hedging both ways, but generally one was bullish, one was bearish. Bearish kind of was the higher of the two, so a little bit more downside, I guess, is anticipated based on this entity right here. And once again, you can kind of dive deep into a lot of all this options and what it truly does mean, but based on the call options that was purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 1750 still. So there's still a good amount of optimism for at least in the next little bit. And then looking at the puts, my apologies, I'm just on a little bit of a don't have a mouse right now, so just going old school. So looking at the puts, though, anticipation for it to be sub 1550. So in my opinion, a little bit more upside is still anticipated based on this information at least, but I think just everyone for the most part is just waiting for good justified reasons, which tomorrow's unemployment numbers will be that justified reason to really propel SoFi and just other stocks higher. Based on the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of 1509, so for as long as it is above that, then it is anticipated to kind of be between that 1830 and 1944, so pretty bullish in that regard. Moving over to the actual option, or to the technicals itself, so I have the ALMA 50, 100, 200-day moving average, super trend, and stochastic RSI. So in general, today was another kind of sign of weakness, similar to what happened over here on December the 3rd. So right now it is below the ALMA, so really need to watch for it to get above that 1603 tomorrow, and definitely stay above that $14.38 mark. But I don't see that being touched whatsoever tomorrow, even if the data is rather negative. So that's just my own opinion, of course, but generally SoFi's technicals are still looking fairly optimistic and bullish, so I wouldn't really count today as kind of the end all be all for SoFi, so just kind of take note of that. No new analyst ratings, nothing along those lines. So yeah, in my opinion, I think today was just more of a temporary pullback, just last minute jitters and many things like that. And so tomorrow could be that X catalyst to really continue and drive up that level of buying, because there is a notable increase in capital getting into the equity market. And so I think that there is that rotation starting to occur between the money market funds leaving, going into both crypto and equities. So in general, that could really propel SoFi to very, very high levels, possibly seen similar to what happened in 2021 when you had like $20+ range for SoFi, and just every stock for the most part was at record highs regardless of their fundamentals or anything. I think that similar scenario might be starting to play out once again. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy the dip? Did you sell? Did you do anything in special or do any options? So let me know your thoughts on that. One final thing I just wanted to share with you, I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been bangers, especially most recently SoundHound just hit 140% in almost 1 month since me signaling it was a buy. Many other cryptos as well, same kind of percentages, so pop over there, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.